Night games and airsoft. The two mix together very well, and if they're done right, they mix together extremely well. When all the guys with night vision are all put on one team and everybody without night vision is put on the other team, it's not fun for anybody. The guys without nods are obviously just getting shot from bushes. They can't see. And when you have a really quiet gun, it's just like, why are they even here? Why did they pay money? And then the guys with night vision, they want to do cool stuff with their nods. And part of doing cool stuff is actually having some type of threat from the other side. Being able to just sneak up behind them and shoot targets without really giving yourself away is not fun. It's just not fun. I've played a lot of night games where that was the case. Here at Zulu 24, they found a really good balance for running night games so that guys with nods and guys without nods can all have fun together. Aside from team balancing, the biggest thing that balances those night games is tracer units. Nobody's really safe from detection once they start shooting. And then when you start throwing in tracer units that have a muzzle flash, it gets even spicier. So if you're a guy with nods and you just start shooting where you see somebody and your gun gives you away, all of a sudden you're gonna have a bunch of white lights in your face and you're not really gonna be able to see them, and all of a sudden you're not as safe as you thought you were. So now all of a sudden, a product like a tracer unit, which was something that I really felt like I didn't need at all, is now a product where I'm kind of going down the rabbit hole trying to find which one is gonna be really dope, which one's gonna be really cool to use. Fortunately, EShooter sent us their Flare M BT tracer unit to do a review of, and I'm actually really excited for this. I think this is gonna be the tracer that I use from now on. It has a lot of cool features on it. It's very cool design. We're gonna talk all about that. Before we do that, let's get into the full disclosure. Like I said, EShooter sent this to me for free. There was no exchange of money. They've actually been sending this tracer unit along with their eKestrel MOSFETs out to other YouTubers to do reviews of. So this is part of their marketing scheme, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna be as unbiased as I can be while reviewing this for you guys. And I will also add that they did send me a eKestrel V2 basic and an eKestrel V3 basic to do a review of, and there's going to be videos for that coming up in the future. So what really stands out about this tracer unit from the get-go is that it does have Bluetooth built into it, and you can program it through an app on your phone, and we're going to show you screen recordings of me going through those settings and messing with stuff. Also, it's a very compact size, and we can talk about the actual build of the tracer unit in a little bit. I put this tracer unit in a category of tracers that are compact, but also have that function of being able to drop into a Airsoft mock suppressor. Another neat feature that really stands out on this tracer unit is that it does have an integrated chronograph, which is really cool. I don't think I've ever seen a tracer unit on the market that's this small that has a self-contained chronograph. There are similar products that go on the muzzle of your airsoft gun and they will chrono the gun, but there's usually an external component that you might mount to your rail that will actually tell you what the reading is. But with this one, you get the reading through the app. So let's talk about the muzzle flash settings really quick and what you can do with it. There's a couple of preset colors for the muzzle flash that you can program just by hitting the buttons on the tracer unit. You could also go to the app to pick the same pre-selected colors. I had a hard time choosing which one to use because I'm colorblind. I needed Jordan to help me out with that. So aside from the pre-selected colors on the muzzle flash, you can also adjust the intensity of the brightness from a selection from 1 to 10. And you can also add a dynamic color mode where it'll switch between different colors of the rainbow. The actual tracer unit is just a very bright UV light like you'd see on any other tracer unit. As far as programming it, you can turn it off to just have the muzzle flash, or there's a drag mode, which actually illuminates every 4th BB. So it almost simulates having a mixed bag of tracers, but you're gonna get more precision in the space between your traced shots and your non-traced shots, oftentimes tracer units that are available will either mount directly to your muzzle threads or they will insert into a mock suppressor of some sort. And for something that has so many features, really the fact that it's small as the chronograph blows me away. This thing is super small. You can insert it into pretty much any can. Now, a lot of other tracers on the market, their overall diameter will be specific to some specific cans, but this tracer unit is actually smaller. And that's something that I prefer, because what that means is that you can basically get any type of spacer you want to fit this into a wider variety of cans. So if it's a really skinny can, you probably will be able to fit it in there. And if it's a larger can, like this Surefire replica that I have here, brought to me by Zulu Outdoor, it'll fit in there too, as long as I use a spacer for it. So I did make a 3D printed sleeve for this tracer specifically to fit in this can specifically. And that might be a product that Antec Airsoft puts out if these tracer units take off, and if certain types of mock cans take off. If there's any type of standard, I'll definitely accommodate the player base as much as I can with that, because I think it's really dope to put this inside of a can. Another reason why I really favor the modularity of this tracer unit to fit in a wider variety of cans is that airsofters to this day still use that old school technique of just sticking a super long inner barrel in their gun no matter what it is. But the problem is if your inner barrel is extending beyond your muzzle threads and it's going into your tracer unit, it'll make it not work. You can't have any obstruction inside the tracer unit, because you'll be blocking the sensor that detects the BB that tells the computer to light up the UV LED that illuminates your BB. So putting this in a can gives you the ability to some degree to actually let your inner barrel stick out a little bit more, but you can offset the position of the tracer unit so that it's closer towards the end of that muzzle device. So here's my replica Surefire can. It's just a hollow tube. It doesn't do anything. It's not real. It's mock. All right, ATF, get over it. So here's the sleeve that I made for the tracer unit. I did the CAD in like 5 minutes, and it took about 45 minutes to print. So very neat. I did use some tape to shim it up, but that's gonna go right inside my can. And then I'm gonna use a spring as a spacer to finish it off. And then we'll be able to close this up, put it on my M4, and test it. So I'm starting off with this because I want to show you guys what that muzzle flash looks like from inside of a can. So let's shoot it. So now we have it mounted directly to the muzzle. We're not gonna talk in between each shoot now. We're just gonna cycle through the different muzzle flash colors and settings, and you guys can look at it. And when we do the comparison, it'll be the same thing, just shooting. You guys can look at it. You can be the judge which one is the one you wanna get.
Oh. Bro, that looks...
So testing out the rainbow settings, we figured that maybe there's some function to them that'll work better on full auto. So we switched out the Kythera for an AEG so we could shoot full auto. So I'm gonna go back to 1 on rainbow. All right. Good?
Yeah.
What, it's just red?
It's just purple.
Just purple? Well, there is a dynamic rainbow mode.
Okay, so let's try that.
Let's try 16 again really quick.
Yeah.
16.
It's just right.
Yep. My gun can't keep up with my, my mags can't keep up with the gun. With dynamic rainbow, there's a time wheel where you can change how many seconds have to pass in order for the color to change. It's gonna cycle through all the preset colors. So we'll set it to 0.5 seconds.
Now it's cool.
Now it's cool.
Now it's cool. That's gonna look real cool on full auto.
If the mag decides it wants to keep up. All right. Full auto now.
Honestly, it was way cooler on semi.
Now we're gonna cycle through the brightness. I'm just gonna go from 1 to 10, and then you can use your imagination to figure anything in between that. ADD break. We like to do things a little bit differently here at Antec. We're gonna do the unboxing now towards the end of the video because nobody actually cares about it that much. The packaging is actually quite nice. It's more than I was expecting from a company based where this company is based in. So you do get a little baggie. It comes with an Allen key and an adapter so you can screw it onto your GBB pistol. You get the manual, and the manual is going to go over pretty much how to set it up, how to use the app, and all that other stuff. I did write a bunch of scribble notes in here while we were filming at night so that I had some semblance of a script. It does come with the tracer unit, of course, and there's also going to be a USB-C cable. I misplaced it with all my other gear, because Milsim. Now, looking at the unit during the day, you can actually see how well it's built. The housing is a nice aluminum construction, and the caps on it are also aluminum. So you have really nice solid threads on it. I don't see this thing stripping out on you anytime soon. There's an O-ring on the bottom of this cap to keep water out. Otherwise, the other end is pretty watertight. And you know you have it screwed on all the way because all 4 LEDs will be exposed in those little windows on the front. Taking another look at the guts of this thing, something stuck out to me that I thought was actually really nice. There are a couple. There's 2 little lithium batteries in here. Lithium batteries come and go. What's nice is that these are just kind of plugged in and taped into place. If these batteries fail, you have the exact specs of the battery right here. You could probably go on DigiKey and get a replacement battery for like a couple of dollars. So that's really nice. You're not gonna have to replace the whole unit should it fail. Taking the guts out, you can see the port here for the USB-C cable. You are gonna have to take it out in order to charge it. I don't really have a problem with that. The alternative is that the USB-C cable is always exposed, and now you have this place where water can get into, or dirt and grime, and it's just, I hate when it happens to my phone and I have to clean out the charging port every few weeks because of the dust in my pocket. So it's nice that if Apple can't do it, at the very least EShooter thought about that, and they have that port protected. Speaking of Apple, the app that they have that works with this tracer unit, along with their other products, you can get it on iOS or Android, which is a big plus. It sucks when you can't get an app on Apple. Nobody really cares about Apple that much. So to see that there is a company that does care about Apple. So the way that you use the app is you open it up. You're gonna see the list of products that EShooter sells that this app is compatible with. You're gonna go over to your Flare MBT and you're gonna turn on the tracer unit. You do that by pressing the M button. Now that the tracer unit is on, you'll see your device. I named mine Antec. It will have a default name that you can change. And just like that, it shows your browsing history and the last 4 digits of your social security. No, just kidding. Fortunately, I don't have to update the app right this second in order to use it. When your flare is attached to it, you'll notice on the very top, you have this thing that says 5.56 millimeter, 0.25 grams. That is not referring to a 5.56 round. That's actually referring to the diameter of the BB, and that's so that you can program this for the built-in chrono. So you can actually go in there and you can change your bullet settings. BBs are not always perfectly 6 millimeter. They're usually actually going to be 5.95 millimeters generally. So I'm just going to set that now because of OCD. You can go to kinetic energy, and you can actually set a limit so that when your gun is shooting above a certain joule limit, it'll actually give you a warning just in case you wanted to respect people's safety. You can go into settings, and when you go into the settings part, it's going to open up all the programming features for the Tracer M itself. So you get to select your modes between flame, flame and tracer, tracer, or drag light. We already went through what all of these settings do. I'm just kind of showing you what it looks like on the app. So looking at the flame, you see that you have this RGB wheel where you can kind of spin it around and pick a more unique color than the provided 8 colors on that palette. So you can use the RGB wheel, or you could just select one of the colors on the palette below. And you can also select the brightness. We talked about it before, but the brightness only affects the muzzle flash. It doesn't affect the brightness of the tracer itself. So you can choose a single color, you can choose a rainbow, or you can do a dynamic rainbow where the rainbow actually changes over a course of time. So if you're doing a lot of full auto fire, that's something that you'll really see. Otherwise, if you do the rainbow, that color is just going to change every shot or so. There's a sensor test mode if you scroll down, and you can turn it on. And when you turn it on, it basically gives you 2 checks if both of your sensors are working. And if you don't get 2 checks, then that means that there's something wrong with your sensors. It tells you the version that you're on for the firmware of the app. And you can also set it to speed measurement only. You could exclusively just use this as a chronograph if you wanted to do that. On the top, you can change the device name. We're gonna name it Poop, just so I can show you how that works. Poop. Now my device is named Poop. It's not a Poop product though. Poop is just funny. My final thoughts. What do I think of this product? In my opinion, this is the last tracer unit that I probably ever have to buy. It does everything I need it to do and then some. I was a little bit skeptical about the chronograph at first, but after seeing all the settings and seeing the type of data that I can collect with that chronograph, this almost turns into a diagnostic tool that I can use while teching, and I like that a lot. Like a lot. More than the average Airsoft viewer probably would think. But as a tech, I actually think that this is a very valuable tool in my collection. As far as the brightness, it was bright enough for me to have a lot of fun and get the giggles while I was shooting it. The tracer unit works exactly as it should work, and just simply put, I really don't have a need for any other tracer unit unless if it produces fog and smoke. EShooter, you guys should totally make cans or inserts like this that also emit smoke out of the muzzle, because that would be very, very based. All right, guys, so this was a really fun video to make. I do a lot of in the gearbox type stuff when I do decide to make content. It's nice to do a little switcheroony on you and review something that isn't directly related to making the gun work. So big shout out, thank you to EShooter for sending this over for the review. I do hope that my review gave you guys a good data point, a good reference for you when you're deciding to go and pick out a tracer unit. Guys, that's pretty much all I got. One more time, thank you EShooter for sending this over. You guys are going to get your eKestrel MOSFET reviews done as soon as I can get to putting them in, a couple of my own personal guns. Thank you to Zulu 24 for letting us film this and shoot some glow-in-the-dark BBs at night during off hours. The field is not open right now. Thank you, Zulu Outdoor, for all the cool attachments and accessories that you guys hook me up with on my guns. You guys really know where to source them. And then lastly, thank you, Jordan, for filming this. It's nice that I don't have to film or edit the video. I don't make as much content as I'd like to because I hate editing it. So big shout out to Jordan, Espa Photos. He's a great photographer. He does all the film stuff for Zulu, so it's really nice. I hope this video does this product justice. You guys can make up your own mind as to what you want. That's all I got.
Everyone's going to think off camera I'm standing here holding a